Welcome back to the Bright Side Up podcast. We have a very VIP guest coming on today, someone near and dear to me who's known me my whole life, and that is my sister. My older sister, Lauren Elder, joins us, and she unpacks and shares so many tips and tricks to the confidence that has led her to getting on Broadway without an agent, to countless auditions that she's gone into, and I have to tell you, you must be so relentless and confident to be an actress because it's ruthless. Like you got to go in, and I've watched her for years. And so Erin and I were talking and I was like, let's have her come on and share these tips and tricks because every woman could use some tips on becoming more confident, right?
We talk about how we should start our day, how we should practice what we're going to be going through in any sort of social, let's say you're not going on an audition every week like she is, but you're walking into a room, you're on a podcast, you're standing up in front of people. All the things that we talk about are so relevant. You could find it in your life in any way, shape, or form. The tips and tricks that you have to do the moment you wake up, to the moments before you step into a room, to the tips and tricks on how to step into a room with confidence, how you lead with that, how your energy presents itself before you even say a word. So you are going to find this conversation so valuable. And I'm so excited to have this like really special moment between you guys. I mean, I've never met Lauren in real life, which I still can't believe, but how often do you get to interview your sibling and get to know a little bit about their life in this regard? Because this isn't kind of the conversation you'd probably have at Christmas brunch, right?
No.
It's like you dive in, and it was just so inspiring and such a great reminder. You have to be your biggest fan. So Lauren Elder is an actress, director, singer, songwriter, and world champion, guys. World champion whistler, which I had no idea was even a thing. And she talks about that, which is so fun. So she's actually currently starring in a documentary called Whistle. Lauren has appeared in Sideshow and also the Tony Award-winning Hair on both Broadway and London's West End. You may have also seen her in Law & Order SVU, amazing, and also performing at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. How fun is that?
Lauren is also a private acting voice and career coach and an on-set acting coach for Disney. I mean, there's so many little things. And I'm like, okay, Disney, okay, yeah. Thanksgiving Day Parade, Broadway.
She's on her way to Sydney pretty soon. Like,
you guys, I had no idea. Just kidding. I did.
Oh, good.
She also performs regularly at nightclubs around Los Angeles and New York and is one of the hosts of Monday at the Club at Club Cumming in New York City. Her original music, also, don't skip this, can be found anywhere you stream music. So she has an album out. I absolutely invite everyone to go look up Lauren Elder and press play. Whimsical, fun. She whistles. Like the songs are fantastic. So you can find her anywhere you stream. And now, without further ado, here is Lauren Elder.
This is insane. How many views like per day, per month?
Insane. Yeah. There's always thousands of people watching.
Yeah. Like if I logged on right now, I bet there's like 50,000 people watching right now. And another cool thing is that Shadow is not Jackie's first mate. She was with this podcast episode is now all about the Eagles. They are very confident creatures, so it makes sense.
Jackie gets around.
Jackie had another mate. And she was like really young. She was like a teen bride. And she had this mate for I think a couple of years. And then one day Shadow showed up and he was younger. He was like a younger eagle. And he just refused to leave. He was like, no, this is my girl now. And he
no way.
Like, I'm not leaving. And then eventually her first dude left. And she and Shadow have been together ever since.
That is crazy.
Eagle tea. You just spilled it, Lauren.
Eagle tea.
Oh my God. I love
Eagle tea. So, there are 27,000 people watching the Eagles right now. It's apparently not a very exciting moment.
I really feel like I'm missing out. I'm going to this bandwagon.
Truly. Yeah. And it's fun because the whole family can you watch and you see, and then you can, what we love is like seeing like them bring the food. I mean, seeing this like massive fish, that he obviously she just went into the, lake, Big Bear Lake and picked up a fish. And it's so cool and so cute as long as everyone lives.
Right.
As long as everyone, they're doing really well this season. So,
the first two eggs this season they left the nest for too long. And my mom was watching, and she'll like yell at the computer screen, like, Jackie, get back to your your eggs. And then a raven came. And so like, and that was broadcast, like the raven ate the eggs.
Yeah. Nature is hardcore.
Nature
It
is. I mean, I know it's a circle of life. You have to just trust it, but man, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a bird pick our front door to lay their 3 eggs.
I remember that.
I felt like we like got chosen, you know?
That is
for sure.
Yeah. And so there were all these like just the cutest little, you know, that little like turquoise kind of color 3 eggs in my front door wreath. And the bird would come in and out and like watch her eggs. And then like, we'd kind of like, okay, don't use the front door anymore. Like use the garage, you know? And we know that 1 passed away, but I think the other 2 lived and flew off. Pretty cool.
Wow.
That's so cool.
I know. Lauren Elder, I cannot believe that I'm finally just meeting you face to face for the first time. This feels like it should have happened years ago, but I'm glad it's finally happening.
I agree. This is long overdue. And I don't know why Chelsea didn't put us together sooner. But it's finally happening now.
Yay.
We are so excited. And I actually, thinking about what we're going to talk about today, I think it's going to be fun because I've known you my whole life, but I feel like I'm going to get to know more about you that I don't already know. And you can share all your secrets and all the things that you've probably been trying to share with me. I don't know, maybe. But now I'm going to, or maybe you're keeping it from me.
I think there's some stories that we might talk about today that like you heard for the first time last year and you were like, wait, what? I didn't know that. And I was like, how did you not know that? This is like my origin story.
Like how often do you have these like deep conversations with your siblings and you just kind of assume that the other person knows, but you don't always know.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And there are big things that happened to me like in my late teens and early 20s that Chelsea, they wouldn't have been on her radar because she was in high school, living her own life, like going through her own big things at the same time.
Yeah, right. It's so true.
You're so, I mean, especially raising teenagers now, you're so selfish, but like not in an intentional way. It's just your whole world revolves around you. So you're not paying attention to what your siblings going through. They're just like, you know, a distraction for you or a nuisance or like bothering you or annoying. And so it is so true. And also you're someone that I think just casually does these amazing things. And so like you don't make the biggest deal about it all the time because it's just normal for you to like I was telling Erin, I'm like, oh yeah, every Sunday she sings choir with, what's her name? Why do I always blank on her name?
Bell.
With Chris. And Erin's like, wait, what? Record scratch?
I had a moment like that a couple weeks ago when I remembered that I sang at Carnegie Hall and I was like, oh yeah, I've done that.
She went to the Met Gala.
Well, I performed at the Met Gala. That's not so fancy anymore. Everybody's mad about the Met Gala, but this was before it was a spectacle. Like this is literally like probably like the next year is when it like became this big spectacle. I mean, that event's been going on for like 50 or 60 years as a fundraiser for the museum. But yeah, back in 2008, I was one of the performers at the Met Gala with the Broadway cast of Hair. It was, I was like, my hand was 2 feet away from David Bowie's face at one point. I was like, and like we saw like Oprah dancing in the audience and Beyonce like singing along with us. And
oh my gosh,
amazing. You know, but like I forgot about that.
Life has a funny way of doing that to you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really lucky. I've had so many incredible things happen to me in my life, and
yay! Let's get into it.
Forget about them and then remember them and be like, oh wow.
So we want to dig into that, your luck and your confidence and the way that you create these things. So let's just kick it off. You mentioned Broadway. You got yourself on Broadway without an agent. Talk to us about that. Like how?
Well, I mean, I guess it all kind of goes back to the confidence thing. For my entire life, I just kind of knew that this was my destiny. I knew that I was supposed to be performing, that I was meant to be on stage and on screen, and I was going to do whatever it took to make that happen. And so when I got to New York, I had already been through a lot. My confidence had already been tested quite a lot. I was told by my first acting school that like I should do something else with my life. The head of the acting school literally sat me down and said those words. The next school that I went to, the next theater program I went to, they kind of said a similar thing. They were like, "Oh, you're really good at playing like dumb blondes, but just stick in that lane." And I was like, but I'm not dumb and I'm not a blonde. So obviously I'm acting. I had a wig,
Gosh,
but I can't
hello.
act my way to be blonde. Um,
So true.
but so I'd already been through a lot, and I moved to New York to go to another theater school where I was terrified that whole time at that second school, or I guess it was my third school, because I thought, oh my gosh, at the end of the first year, they're going to tell me the same thing. They're going to tell me I can't do this, that I have to leave. And you know what? If they do that, that's fine. I'll just go start auditioning. And that was always my thought. Anytime anyone told me you can't do this, I was like, nah, I'll just keep going. And so at the end of my last theater school experience, they have what's called a showcase, and you do your scenes and your songs for agents and casting directors that the school invites. And a bunch of people got agent meetings out of that. And I did not. I didn't get any bites at all. And I thought, okay, this is just you having to prove yourself once more. Figure out how to go out there and get your own auditions. And so I did. I learned that in theater, it's incredible. There are many more ways to open doors for a career than there are in film and TV. There's a lot more gatekeeping on that end of the industry. But in theater, there are websites that list when the auditions are going to be, and they have big like union calls. So if you're in the Theater Actors Union, which is Actors Equity, then you can sign up for an appointment time at these union auditions. If you are non-union, you're still allowed to show up, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be seen. So I found out about that, and I said, well, I'm just going to start showing up. And I think the first one I showed up like at the time that the call started, which was about 5 hours too late as a non-union performer. You had to show up at like 5 a.m. and sit on the sidewalk and hope that once you get into the building that the list of names that you've written on a notebook paper that has the order that you're all in on the sidewalk, that the person inside is going to honor that list. And 9 times out of 10 they did, and the 1 time out of 10 that they didn't, it was massive chaos. And then you sit around all day hoping that there might be time to be seen at this audition.
Wow.
And there were many times that I sat around all day waiting to be seen, hearing people sing in the next room, knowing that I was as good, if not better than them, and not being seen. And luckily, the day that I went to audition for Hair, which ended up being my Broadway debut, I got there really early. They had time. I got in early in the morning. I was in one of the first groups of non-union people. I sang my mama's and papa's song, and I went on my merry way. And it was funny. I almost didn't go that morning. I had been waiting tables until like 2 a.m. the night before. I went home. I slept literally for 3 hours, and I got up and I said, oh my gosh, I wanted to be seen by the public theater who was producing it, because I knew that they did really cool work. I knew I wanted them to know who I was. So I went to this audition anyway. And then I ended up booking it. And so I was supposed to come home. I was supposed to be in Laguna Beach with my family. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, you've got to come here instead, because I'm going to be in a show in New York. And then that concert was so incredibly popular. There were thousands of people sitting out on the grass outside of the theater in Central Park, just listening because they couldn't get tickets. And so they saw how popular that was, and also just how necessary it was at the time. This was at the very end of Bush's second term, and right when we were about to elect Obama in. So it was 2007 that we did the concert. So it was right after the concert, Obama won the presidency. But yeah, it was literally just going to that call, knowing inside that I was meant to be there and doing my thing.
Where does that self-belief, like when people say that you should do something else, or we don't have time for you today, or you keep getting rejections and then you just keep showing up hoping and then finally getting your chance? Where does that come from? Is it something like your parents taught you guys? The self-belief, the resilience?
I think a lot of it comes from our parents, especially our mom. She has always been such a confident person. It's hard to shake her, it seems. She has always been her own unique person. And I think as a kid, I saw her thrive in that she made so many vibrant friends, that she went out and said, I'm going to start something new. I'm going to start a craft fair out of my living room. And she did it. I'm going to now go be a substitute teacher. And she did it. I'm going to go become an event coordinator at a marine research lab, and she did it. And these are her degree was in special education, so like the only one of those jobs that she really had a degree for was the teaching, and she did all these things and just never even flinched. And I think at a young age, I knew I wanted to be a performer like my entire life. And neither of my parents ever discouraged me. They encouraged me to keep going after that. When I got to high school, we were in Santa Cruz, and I was at a high school that had no theater department. And I amazingly marched myself into the principal's office and said, I want to do a play. Can I have a theater department, please? And she said yes, and gave me a faculty member, and we put on an insane play. This 3-act English farce that had a 2-story revolving set that we had to build ourselves. Like, this was insane for a school that hadn't done a play in 30 years to say, okay, Lauren, we'll let you do this crazy thing.
Well, and it was so cool because Lauren, you brought all the people together. There were like football players and jocks that she got to join drama. And it reminds me of what you're doing with dance. Like Erin's having this whole dance revolution up in her area because they don't have dance programs in middle school. And now Erin, like other middle schools have seen what she did at her daughter's school. And when you told me that, Erin, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what Lauren did. Like it's so cool just to have that belief and don't take no for an answer.
Right.
Yeah. And really, this is one of my favorite things to say is don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. Because people told me all along, you can't do this. You should do something else with your life. And I kept thinking, you're wrong. Every time someone said that, I heard a voice in my head say, they're wrong. They're wrong. Go prove them wrong. And you know what I did? That acting school, that first acting school that the head told me I should go do something else with my life. When I got to Broadway, they called and they wanted to interview me for the alumni magazine. And then they hung my picture on the wall at the school.
Well, they're taking credit for it, but
I would have said,
well,
no, thank you.
I knew they would. When I started my very first day at school there, you had to sign a paper that said, we are allowed to use your name and likeness in our advertising and all of that if you get famous. And I vividly remember signing it going, you will.
Yes.
So good.
On the wall.
Oh, yeah. When they called for the interview, I answered. I said, I've been waiting for your call.
Oh, my gosh. So funny.
So
okay.
Good for you.
Let's dive into like tips and tricks. And the things that we can do, say we have a presentation or a talk or, you're going into a new environment. What are the things that you recommend that you do in that moment to build your confidence, to own more space in the room, to have a more confident voice? Break it down.
So I think it starts before that moment. I think it's important for if you're doing something big, say you have to go give a speech or, you're going to an audition or a performance, public speaking, any of that. Heck, even being on a podcast, right? You want to think about almost having like a rehearsal for yourself before. And this can just be like in your bedroom or in the bathroom. Sometimes I like to do this like in front of the mirror. And here's the thing, being confident, I think goes along with being a little bit delusional. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's like the good part of delusion. I've been seeing some great creators online saying, just be delulu. And there's one woman, Natanya Bravo, and that's her whole thing is like, go for the Delulu. And I think that that's part of it. And it might feel a little silly when you have to do this like Delulu rehearsal for yourself, because maybe you don't know exactly what the situation is going to be and you have to kind of imagine. And I think it's important to do that. Imagine yourself before you go to this event or moment. Imagine yourself saying the wittiest things, the funniest things, and maybe even come up with a few things that you're going to say. Just have an imaginary conversation in the mirror. Yes, you are talking to yourself. Yes, you seem crazy, but no one can see you, so it doesn't matter. And practice, rehearse it, say some things that might happen. I used to do this before my gigs. Like, I play music, and I would do this before my gigs. I would kind of have an imagination around like, what's my banter going to be in between songs, and just have a little imaginary session of that. That doesn't mean that that's exactly what you're going to say, but you've had this moment to have the best possible turnout of this moment on your own with no pressure. And that goes with you into whatever you're doing, right? So now you've had your rehearsal, you're feeling good, you have an idea of what you might possibly say, whether you do or not. And then you get to the moment, right? Now, this is obviously also different if you've got like a scripted speech. If you've got a scripted speech, rehearse that over and over and over and over to the point where you can do it in your sleep. The more rehearsed you are on something that you have to recite, the easier it's going to be, the more natural it's going to feel as well.
Sure.
But then we're getting to like the moment before you step out onto that stage or into that boardroom or into that audition room, into that gig, whatever. Take 30 seconds to yourself to do my favorite move, which is a power pose. Which means you are standing up straight. Yeah, you can do like Superman style with your hands on your hips, or you can stand up with your arms straight out. You're almost like in an X formation, right?
Love it.
And you just take up all of that space, because people that are powerful take up more space. You'll see it. Like, think of like, the typical boss in a movie, right? And he's like leaning back and has his feet up on the desk, right? Taking up space. And then think of someone who's not so confident. And a lot of times they're like maybe wrapping their arms around themselves and closing themselves off. The thing about our bodies is they remember every emotion that they have felt and they tie it to a physical movement. Just like you've probably heard, if you smile for a minute, you'll actually feel a little bit happier, right? So, I mean, we can try it right now. Just put a smile on your face and keep it there. Whether it's fake or not, it doesn't matter, because that muscle memory tells your brain, hey, wait, we're smiling. We must be happy. It's the same thing with taking up physical space. Hey, we're taking up a lot of space. We must feel very powerful and very confident. And you will feel that. Do it for 30 seconds to a minute, and you will feel a clear difference in your body, in your being, and then walk out into whatever you're supposed to be doing. And you're going to feel amazing, because you are prepared and you have the physical confidence going. And that's going to tell your brain, I'm ready. I'm confident. I know exactly what I'm doing.
So let's talk next steps. You've done this. You've had this dress rehearsal for yourself. You've owned your power stance. I talk about this with my daughter all the time, because sometimes, she'll like walk, out of the car, like with her shoulders over, or just not walk into this space. Or when she's a dancer, when she walks onto stage, it's like, no, hon, it starts the second you step foot on that stage. So you got to roll your shoulders back, lift up, walk in with confidence. So what advice do you give women when they're entering a room? It's your stage. You're walking into a room, that's your stage in life, right?
Absolutely. Your energy leads the way too. You've got to think about that. It's not even, I think a lot of people forget about that it's not just once you open your mouth, it's the second you open that door, right? Your energy is moving in ahead of you. So if you have an incredible, positive, confident energy before you open that door, then that's going to lead the way. When I do my power pose, I always give myself a mantra at the same time, and I repeat it in my head. And I like to do this if I can find a mirror. I do my power pose and mantra in the mirror at the same time, looking at myself, talking to myself. And my mantra, because mine is usually before going in for an audition or a performance, is I am so excited to be here. And they are going to be so excited when they see what I have to offer.
I love that.
And anyone can use that, I mean, I think that can be used in many different situations. But I think that there's part of it too that we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say things and people are going to think I'm an idiot. People are going to think that I'm stupid. They're not going to think I'm good enough. But if we cut that off before those thoughts even come in and say, I'm excited to be here. And they're going to be excited when I open my mouth, because I'm going to give them something incredible, something they've been looking for.
I love that. I mean, you can use that, like you said, with so many things, like dating. Think about dating. Like,
Absolutely.
I remember like 2 weeks before I met Anthony, I went to this like yoga thing, and part of it was like about love, and we were journaling, and there was this part where they were like the woman was saying, have it be, I can't wait for my king to discover me. And I remember like writing that, and it's such a different way than like, oh, I can't wait to meet him. It's like, I can't wait to be discovered. And it's so true. It takes that desperation out, and it takes like, it also keeps your confidence internal. I know that's like the whole point of us talking about this, but like it truly does. We're so hard on ourselves. Just to give yourself that mantra, just like the smiling is going to trigger you to think that you're happy. That mantra is going to be like, no, I got this. I so got this.
Yeah. There's something else I've been doing more recently. This has been within the last like 4 months, and it's talking to myself about how proud I am of myself. And this is literally out loud. I'm doing it every night before I go to sleep as I'm laying in bed. I'm having this like kind of mental check-in. And again, I say it out loud and I say my name. I say, Lauren, I am so proud of you because today you did this and this and this. And maybe it's as simple as like, today you cleaned your room, which Chelsea knows is really hard for me to do. So I am really proud of myself when I do something like that. Or maybe it's something really big, like I'm really proud of you because you went and you had a great audition today. But it could be something small, it could be something big, but saying those words out loud and saying your name, because how often do you hear someone say, hey, Chelsea, I'm proud of you. Erin, I'm proud of you. Unfortunately, I feel like we don't hear it that often anymore as adults. And so even saying it to yourself, there's scientific evidence around this, that talking to yourself in a positive way and telling yourself that you are proud of yourself actually does change your entire being. And I've noticed it. It's incredible positivity that I'm starting each day with now, after letting my body absorb that while I sleep. I start over and I'm like, okay. And then it's almost like you're looking for the things in your day that you want to be proud of as well.
Oh, I love that.
And when we feel proud of ourselves, we feel confident.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? So if you're bringing that more to the surface, then you're going to find more of those glimmers, more of that, those proud moments.
I love that. I have a question. Okay. So you're a vocal coach. Obviously, you coach in singing mostly, but can you talk to us about cadence and tone as far as sounding confident and the way to engage people? Like, what are your tips when it comes to that? Like, I know the whole, like, don't end on a high, like that whole piece. But beyond that, like, what are the basics that we can sound our most confident?
I'm an acting coach too. I'm an acting coach and a voice coach. So both of these come into play when we're doing that. I think the biggest thing that you want to start with is making sure that you are breathing into your belly when you're speaking, that you're actually breathing all the way down there. A lot of us breathe only into our chest. And you can know this by like just standing in the mirror and taking a nice deep breath in, see what happens. Because a lot of people, and see, Chelsea, you just went like this, which shows me that you're breathing into your chest. If you're breathing into your belly, that right there is taking you to your center of gravity. and starting from a very powerful place. And also going to lift your voice in a more powerful way. A very quick way to get your breath into your belly is to just blow every bit of breath out. When you think you have no breath left, blow just a little bit more, then hold your breath for 1 second, then open your mouth and invite the breath in. You're going to feel it rush to your belly. Oh, Erin, I saw it.
I did it.
And you can practice that. It is something that you actually might want to practice to get yourself in the habit of breathing into your belly. And then, yeah, like Chelsea, what you said is really, you don't want to go up at the end of your words. It's a very like, social media kind of has taken us to this place where I think people talk like this all the time. It's got a little bit of like a valley feel. And as you heard, as I was doing that, there was a bit of vocal fry in there as well. Vocal fry is like this, all of this. And all of this tells me that I'm not breathing with my belly. Because if I'm breathing with my belly and I'm supporting my voice with that, I'm not doing any of that.
Interesting.
So it
Makes
all
sense.
starts with the breath, centering yourself down there. And that's also going to make you feel more calm, more centered, more confident. I mean, Chelsea knows from breath work even, and this is hand in hand with doing breath work, is that centers you, that puts you into that strong place in your body. And that's a great place to start from.
And then your cadence will slow. You won't be speed rushing through everything, which also will bring about confidence and make people look at you in a confident manner.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean, and just believe what you're saying. If you believe what you're saying, other people are going to believe you.
Well, that's true. I remember whenever I had to do like a public speech in school, I would always write on the side of my margin, slow, and like highlight it, because I'd be all up here. Like that's so a good reminder for me because I'm still that way. Like just slow.
Yeah. And a lot of that can be like nervous energy as well. Nervous energy is going to make you speed up. It's going to make your breath more shallow. So again, going back to all the things that we talked about, having your little rehearsal at home, doing your power pose where you can do your breathing as well and your mantra. This is all going to ground you and have you in a place where hopefully you won't even feel like you need to look at that reminder to be slow. You'll be able to just be grounded and confident.
Okay, so now I'm going to kind of change topics here, but I have to know about your whistling. This is something
whistling.
This is a world I know zero about. How did you get into it? How did you notice this was a skill, a talent of yours? Tell us.
My dad taught me how to whistle when I was 4 years old. So I've literally been whistling my entire life. And it was just kind of like another way to make music for most of my life. Just, I'm always singing, humming, whistling, just music always. And then when I was in Hair on Broadway, I was needing to use my voice so intensely in the show. And, maybe you don't know, in theater, you do 8 shows a week. You have 8 performances a week. You work 6 out of 7 days and do those 8 performances in 6 days. So it's incredibly taxing. And it's hard to be using your voice a lot outside of the show. Yet I still had this urge to be making music and not wanting to tire my voice. I would start whistling. And so when I was in Hair, it was like I was whistling all the time. And my castmates would come over to my apartment. I lived like around the corner from the theater, which was the coolest, craziest thing. And my castmates would come over to my apartment like in between shows or after shows and bring their instruments and like jam out. And I would start whistling. And that's when I think other people actually noticed my whistle like as a musical element. And that's when my castmates started saying like, "Oh my gosh, you're like the best whistler. This is crazy." And I started writing my own music around the same time and started playing gigs. And that's when more people would be like, "Wow, you're the best whistler in the world." And I would be like, "Well, I don't know about that, but thank you." And that piqued my curiosity to just find out who was the best whistler in the world. And I found this man named Geert Chartreux, who lives in the Netherlands, and he had won multiple world championships. And so that was what made me go, wow, there's a world championship of whistling. I wonder if I could win. And so I finally entered in 2017 and I won.
I mean, not to put you on the spot, but can we hear a little something?
Let's see. I haven't warmed up my whistle yet this morning.
I know. Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm sure there's some dress rehearsal for it. I love it.
So good.
So good.
And then you were also in a documentary, Whistle, that is still out.
Yes,
Talk to us about Whistle.
We haven't been distributed yet. We're doing the festival circuit right now. And we had our premiere last year at the Toronto International Film Festival. And I'm getting ready now to go to the Sydney International Film Festival. We're going to have our premiere in Australia at the Sydney Opera House, which is
that is amazing.
Cool.
Amazing.
It's a documentary that revolves around the 2023 competition. It's called Whistle. And hopefully soon we'll be able to say you'll be able to watch this on Netflix or HBO or something like that. Our producers are working really hard trying to get one of the streamers to buy it and get us distribution. Good.
What is one thing that you would love for every woman listening to this right now to take away as far as owning her voice, her confidence, and taking up more space?
That loving yourself and thinking you are wonderful is an incredible thing to do. It's a radical act of self-love. I remember a few years ago, I was watching the Today Show with our mom, and Kathy Lee said something like, any woman who actually thinks that she's beautiful is lying or crazy. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm beautiful. I've always thought I'm beautiful. And that has helped me in my life and carried me through this world. And I thought, what a horrible thing to say, because I think people should believe in themselves. I think be your biggest fan, be your own biggest fan. And that will take you so far.
I like it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true. And gosh, like, as they say, I don't know if I feel like there's been such a revolution on that part too, like where a woman saying that, like, imagine if she said that now in this day and age, like how much backlash that would have given her. Because you remember that. Yeah. Right. Because you remember that piece that she just flippantly said, because that was that was it, right? That was just
apparently
normal.
She's not very confident. That's what it told me.
Yeah, interesting.
Made me sad.
And sad. Right, so sad.
We should all be our biggest fans, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's wonderful to love yourself and to celebrate yourself. Yes. I think everyone should.
Yes, we get this one life. What a waste if we spend it negative and down on ourselves and worried about what everyone else thinks. Like, that's just what a waste of time.
Exactly.
Okay, Lauren. So we called this podcast the Bright Side Up Podcast. So we always like to ask our guests, how do you live your life bright side up?
I do my best to always look for the positive in things. And if a negative thought comes into my mind, I try and see if I can turn it around to be the positive. Like if I'm like, oh, I'm so tired today, how can I turn that around and be like, oh, I can't wait to get a great night's sleep tonight. Right? That's the positive. And I think that those tiny little shifts can really make a difference in our lives, in our daily lives, and how we carry ourselves. Just trying to look for the positive. And even if a negative thought comes into your head, how can you change it to the flip side of that? I think that's how I live my life bright side up.
Cheers to that. And cheers to more confidence.
Cheers to more confidence.
And cheers to interviewing your sibling. Lauren, you are officially our first sibling we've interviewed.
Wow.
Official.
I feel
Mhm.
honored.
A sibling debut right here.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, La. You're incredible.
thank
We'll
you.
have links to every way to connect with you and to work with you. So again, she does vocal coaching, acting coaching, and then you also work, I mean, outside of just acting, like you can work with people on confidence, like CEOs and such, right?
Absolutely. Also, like dialect reduction. If people are from other places, they want to speak more clearly, I do that as well.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. It was so great to finally meet you and learn more about your journey. And you are so inspiring. And I know that our listeners are going to love this conversation. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I love this podcast.
Thanks, La.